LATD Nation, what is good? Once again, we are back with another video. As always, this is RG from the 843. And, as usual, I'm joined by my co-host.
What's good, y'all? This your boy Jay. We back in here with another one for y'all, man. We got another review for y'all. What we talking about today?
Yes, sir. Music review. And we are discussing the latest Eminem album, Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace. An album that Eminem has been teasing and hyping us with for the last couple of months is finally here. Mm-hmm. And, Eminem is an artist that needs no introduction. He is, a legend, one of the biggest artists of all time, biggest rapper, best-selling rapper of all time, who has managed to inspire countless people in all genres of music, has managed to transcend multiple eras of hip-hop. And now we arrive with his 12th studio album, which was just released last Friday. And
right.
So, yeah, throughout this is the first rollout that M has done in at least 7 years. Because Revival was like the last, and I'm going to get to Revival. Revival was the last album that M did a proper rollout for, where he was doing interviews, he was doing performances, he was dropping singles. And since then, with the reception that album rightfully got, full disclosure, huge Eminem fan, my third favorite artist of all time, but
Same.
Revival was not it under any circumstances. Revival was M at his absolute worst, not just production-wise, in terms of like song concepts, lyricism. It was Eminem in a state that we never ever want to see ever again. Right. I haven't listened to the album since 2017. I was 18 when it dropped. Haven't listened to it since. Don't plan on ever listening to it ever again.
Right. I have never listened to it, but I'll just take your word for it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's trash.
Because when I listened to Kamikaze, and he went off on that one. He went off on everybody in Kamikaze. Really, his last couple of albums have really been him just kind of going off on the music industry as a whole.
For sure.
Especially rapping-wise.
Oh, yeah, definitely. See, yeah, because Revival was trash. And then, Revival was kind of the start of, like, this newer era Eminem. I don't know exactly, how to describe it. But everything, like, since Revival has kind of been, like, this newer, older, curmudgeon-y sort of shaking his fist in the sky sort of Eminem.
Look at what y'all did to music. A lot of what a lot of old heads do today.
On some Mr. Nevercracker from Monster House. Am I lying?
That's a dope reference, but you ain't.
I hate to say it, but M's really been on his old, just shaking his cane in the sky. Just what have you done to hip hop? This, that, and the third. Which that was a big theme on Revival. Folks didn't like that because a lot of the people that he was talking about had grown up on Eminem, like, your Lil Yachty's, your Juice WRLDs, people
right.
of that nature. So when M came out with an album where he was dissing everybody for mumble rapping, quote unquote, M came off as very out of touch. He came off as very bitter, very angry. And mind you, Revival was the first album he had dropped since Matters LP2 in 2013.
Right.
And that was an album, not to cut you off.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Because that album was an album that most people seem to really enjoy, even to this day. For its namesake, it did what it needed to do. It was a worthy follow-up to the legendary Marshall Mathers LP that dropped all the way back in 2000. Mm-hmm. And so, with that being said, 4 years go by, we get this new album, and it's just Eminem it's like he aged like 50, 60 years in between Mathers LP2 and Revival, because like I said, he just sounded so out of touch. Just sounded so angry. He's like, what is you angry for? You rich.
From what you telling me, like when I listen to Kamikaze, it seems like Kamikaze was Revival but better. Well, it was more of a response to everybody dissing Revival.
Exactly. So Kamikaze, which I do think was better, was kind of a response to the response of Revival.
Right.
So he basically was getting his get back on Kamikaze.
Like, truth be told, my favorite Eminem album from this era, like I'm gonna call this era like the old M era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from 2017 to present.
The 2017 to present, like or the rickety old Eminem era, or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he starts complaining about everybody. My favorite album from this era was really just Music to Be Murdered By.
I thought that was a great album.
Yeah, I thought it was fire to me. Like Darkness being a big one.
Oh, for sure.
Godzilla being probably the biggest song on that album.
Easily. And Juice had just passed when that album came out, so.
Yeah, and his even though he doesn't have a big role on it.
He doesn't have a verse.
He doesn't have a verse on it. His the hook to me is like was really like dope to me, you know.
Yeah, the hook was great.
How him and M just like see what it is. Him and M just kind of like how they just bounce off of each other back and forth on the chorus. I thought that or on the hook that was dope, and yeah, that's probably like I said, that's my favorite album this past from him.
Yeah, so I would probably agree with that because I would say that Kamikaze was a step in the right direction, but you know it still had some weak points on it. Like, you know, production was still a little lacking, but overall it was better. He sounded more awake. He sounded more revived, quote unquote. And then after that, not even 2 full years later, because Kamikaze came out in like August of 2018. I remember this like vividly because I was still at Trident at the time, and right. I remember like checking my phone and it's like, oh, new Eminem album, that's a bet. You know, listened to it, enjoyed it, and then January 2020, M just surprise drops Music to Be Murdered By, which that's a great. There's a lot of good songs on that, especially Unaccommodating. I still have that on repeat to this day. Darkness, like you said, Godzilla, and then his deluxe that he did for that like Music to Be Murdered by side B. I thought that was even better because he had songs like Zeus on there, Nat. I think it was Higher. He had some good songs on there. Like that was really a return to form from me. As a longtime Eminem fan, it was kind of closer to what I wanted to see from M, because it was kind of more of that sort of him rapping with a topic, kind of like having a clear like idea of where he wants to take the song, not rapidy rapping too fast to the point where you could barely understand what he's saying.
Except for Godzilla though, because he does that at the end in his last verse.
That is true, but I feel like he kind of did that in like a tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah.
Whereas like at the end it was like, man, stop. So he kind of was aware of that.
Right. And it's a lot with this album, The Death of Slim Shady, too, where he does that.
Yeah. I think that, for me personally, my biggest complaint of recent Eminem, like my biggest criticism of recent Eminem is, you know, just that rapping, just going crazy, just rapping, just for the sake of just showing, oh, look how much of a superior rapper / lyricist I am. You fools can't even keep up with me. It's like, what is you saying though? Like, you're not saying nothing.
Right, I can agree with that too. I can agree with that. Like, it never really bothered me like that, but I get it.
Yeah, because for me personally, I always preferred like M back in the day, like Slim Shady Mathers and Eminem show era M, where it was like his flow was a lot more laid back, kind of like chill, but it felt like it still was more methodical. Right. Like he was still kind of like, you knew what he was doing. He kind of was like, he was on his purpose.
Right, exactly.
I feel like he was rapping with much more of a purpose with those older albums.
Like with this era, though, I'm sorry, I mean, cut you off.
No, you're good.
But with this era, it seems like he really doesn't have anything else left to prove.
It's like he has nothing left to say.
Exactly. But to complain about how rap is like, you know, falling,
yeah,
has been corrupted and changed to
his subject matter has been just kind of like for the last 7 years, old man shakes his fist at the music industry.
Right. Exactly.
Like I said, he just turned into Mr. Nevercracker. He just like got old. Like,
right. I'm just it was.
And then the crazy thing is, not to cut you off, you know, he dropped an album, he gets criticism for the same thing, and then he goes back and he responds by dropping another album, and it's like this cycle just keeps getting perpetuated. Right. It's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Right. My thing is, I just really just wanted to hear like good music, and that's what he brought to me, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
that's why I was never really mad at these albums. Like, were they as good as like Mathers LP?
No,
definitely not.
Definitely not as good as Eminem show.
Eminem show, like all of Eminem's older work are like all classics to me.
For sure.
Classics. These are really kind of going out. As much as I like them, these are kind of going down in infamy. Like, this is easily Eminem's worst era, and it really wasn't even that bad, in my honest opinion.
It's his most disrespected era for sure.
Oh yeah,
because before, and I remember before he dropped Revival, how everybody online, Eminem is better than your favorite rapper. Eminem will diss your favorite rapper and he won't even respond. Now it's just kind of gotten to a point where it's cliche to hate on Eminem.
Right.
Like ever since Revival came out, like a lot of rappers, not even just like fans, but rappers and just people in general have kind of gotten emboldened.
Right.
And they kind of felt like they can just kind of say whatever they want to say about M. And, you know, criticism of M is at a way higher point than it ever was before. Because you look at Lord Jamar.
Yeah.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah.
Can't stand Lord Jamar.
Nick Cannon and another one. Like, them Nick Cannon dishes against Eminem was, whew.
Yeah.
Them jokers was whack.
But that's an example of how, like, a lot of people who wouldn't have said nothing before waited until, you know, the force field around M was kind of down, and now it's like we can say what we want to say.
Right.
Before y'all was afraid of M.
But that's the thing about M. Like, it depends on who it is, because he didn't respond to Nick Cannon.
Why would you?
Exactly. So it's just like if
Nick Cannon's too busy out here having kids anyways.
Exactly. But it's kind of, but a lot like that is how Eminem. Well, what I'm trying to get at is Eminem to me is easily the best diss track writer like ever.
Oh yeah.
Like he's
Kendrick might have competition.
Yeah, well,
Kendrick might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I think so too. But I feel like from like a raw like trying to like embarrass you, I give it to M from a raw lyricism song perspective, because look at what he did to MGK. Now you can argue that like Eminem's competition really wasn't that good. Like all it was Cannabis. Cannabis was okay, but Cannabis, Ja Rule, Benzino, MGK, they weren't really that.
He packed them folks up for real.
But exactly, it's kind of like when you play college football 25. We got a new review for y'all later on this week or next week. It's going either way. It's getting here. So, but anyway, it's like when you play a trash team in college football. If you Alabama and you playing against, let's say, the Sun Belt Conference, Georgia State or something like that, and you beat Georgia State being Benzino and all them, right? Eminem being Alabama. And Bama only wins by like 2 points. That says more about the loser than the winner.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, depending on how it looks. So, but the thing is, Alabama, Eminem beat the brakes off of Georgia State and all them like they should. So I think that's kind of where his competition falls through.
Like those were his kids.
Exactly. But Kendrick, on the other hand, this is a story for a whole different day.
Oh yeah, this is a topic for a whole.
We kind of getting off topic. I'm sorry.
But yeah, in short, basically Eminem, you know, has had a rocky sort of like era of his career the last 7 years, and you know, after Music to Be Murdered By came out, and he kind of stayed quiet for the last 4 years. Talks earlier this year of a new Eminem album came up, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Exactly.
See what M got for us, you know, this year. And so now he dropped Houdini, which was a big hit, and a lot of people seem to have liked Houdini because it was kind of a return to, you know, his older era, you know, kind of that wacky sort of zany production comedy.
Right.
It definitely was on an encore sort of like Eminem era sort of vibe. Right. I didn't mind it. I liked Houdini for the most part. People enjoyed the video.
People was just mad that he dissed Megan Thee Stallion though.
Who hasn't at this point though?
Yeah, let's just
who hasn't. Let's just move. That's a whole different conversation topic. But yeah, Houdini I enjoyed because I think that it was kind of like showcasing a more playful sort of having fun M, like back in the day, where he wasn't taking himself so serious like he was with Revival and Kamikaze.
Right. It's the same thing on the album.
Yeah.
Like he's very much it's a return to form for him from way back in the day.
Oh yeah, most
like
definitely.
How people said they missed the old Kanye.
Yeah.
They missed the old M, and so now you got the old M back.
Yeah. And so yeah, after that he dropped Toby with Sean, Big Sean, Baby Tron. Now that's the one I really messed with. That song, I still got that on repeat right now. That song is tough.
Yep.
The production is tough. All three verses are fire. The hook is fire. Everything about that song was like had me like, okay, yeah, no, M is on one. M got himself with this album,
and I'm thinking
he got himself on with this album for sure.
And Baby Tron's verse on it was just, oh my goodness, it was great.
Yeah, just across the board. I feel like Sean low-key had the best verse. At least for me,
Yeah.
Personally, I think I like Sean's verse the most.
I think I'm just a fan of punchlines, so I'd probably say Babytron, honestly.
I feel that.
Like Babytron was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, Babytron's verse was probably my favorite. Because, man, I'm like, I need to listen to him more, too.
For sure, yeah, definitely.
But Fuel...
Oh no, we'll get to it. So now here okay, we get to
cool.
we get to the full album.
Yes, sir. Let go.
Okay,
My
so
bad.
yeah. So Slim Shady, or the death of Slim Shady. First of all, it opens, in my opinion, very spectacularly. It opens with the song Renaissance,
right?
Where he seems to have somehow managed to completely slip back into his old style, seamlessly. Listening to this song, it sounded just like old Eminem. From the flows, the lyricism, the production, just his cadence. It just sounds like Eminem.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, M's ready to go with this one. And he keeps that same energy throughout that first half of the album. He got standout songs on it, like Brand New Dance, was it?
Brand New Dance,
where he's dissing Christopher Reeves and everything. Which, talk about that. Yeah. So the first half of the album, and M himself came out before the album came out, and he stated that this was a concept album.
Right.
And, going through the album, the theme of it is this idea of Slim coming back and kind of overtaking him, and kind of this internal struggle he's having as far as is he going to continue to be the Eminem that's grown and changed from when he first got famous? Or is he going to go back to being the Slim Shady Eminem that kind of quote unquote helped him get to where he's at?
Right, that just didn't give a rat's, what?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think he does a really good job of displaying that on this song, on the first half of the album. Songs like Evil Fire. Evil definitely has been on repeat. But we got to get to that real standout song. That standout feature a certain rapper that needs to drop his album that's been going stupid since Forever Story. Of course, the one and only JID.
Yes, sir. You already know. Big JID fans on here.
Yes, sir. And
when I heard his verse, you mind if I let me
go ahead? Yeah, that's all you.
Boy, when I heard that man verse, man, I was just I'm just in my car, just moving, swaying. And then, it was just and then it's just astonishing how JID can have one of the fastest flows like Twista, but still be fully you can still comprehend everything he's saying. Yeah. And it's it's just with the lyricism as well. Same thing with Eminem. I wouldn't say Juice WRLD's on the exact Juice WRLD. I'm tripping. JID's on the exact same plane of lyricism as Eminem is. But he's dang near close. And I'm
close. Yeah, he held his own.
To me, this might be the best feature on the album.
Undeniably, if you ask me, it's the best feature, especially from a rapper. Easily the best feature. I feel like this is the only song on the album where he was really going. Other than Toby, it's the only song where it's another rapper's really going back and forth, kind of going in like that.
Right.
Jid, this feature only further showcases why he's one of the most acclaimed and beloved rappers currently in hip hop.
Right.
Just Jid doing his thing basically. Exactly. For him to go up against Eminem and hold his own, that just further showcases, everything that he is as a rapper, artist, lyricist. Can't wait for his album. He said that it was turned in April, I think. So
April, yeah.
There. So we'll be on the lookout for that for sure. But yeah. Overall, for me personally, the theme of him wrestling with Slim and, deciding whether he wants to go back towards being that more crass, more crude, more offensive Eminem, or if he wants to showcase growth like he did with Recovery, I think that worked pretty well. It comes to a head with the song Guilt and Conscience 2.
Right.
Which is obviously a sequel to the legendary song that he did with Dre way back on the Slim Shady LP. So kind of a full circle moment with that. And I think that he does a really good job of playing up that theme of trying to let go of Slim, trying to defeat Slim, overcome himself, to be the best version of himself he can be. I think that it was successful. Now, as far as negatives for the album, I think that it probably could have ended after that song.
Right.
Because after that, you just kind of get some more songs where it's just like they're cool, they're chill, but narratively, I don't know if I can say they made sense within the context of the album.
I agree. Even though Temporary, pretty much his letter to Haley and Jade.
Haley Jade.
Haley. Okay, I'm about to say Haley Jade. Yeah,
his daughter.
Yeah. So being a love letter, being like a letter to her of like pretty much after he's gone and stuff like that. That kind of I feel like that kind of plays into the, the theme just a tad bit considering the title. But it's like after he's dead and gone and everything, like you got to learn to let go and this, that, and the third. I agree with you on that. Like, I agree that it's partially kind of out of place for this type of album. Toby isn't. Toby, I feel like
Toby was fire.
Toby fits into this album perfectly, in my opinion. Bad One. Yeah,
it was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It was just kind of there.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah, like it doesn't really stand out. The thing that made, and the reason why I keep going back to these, because like you said, Head Honcho was pretty good too. Head Honcho and Bad One were really just kind of there. They weren't bad by any means, but they just didn't really fit into the whole narrative of the album. Yeah. Temporary does to a degree, but this is like a whole return to form for Eminem. So it's like,
yeah. And so it's kind of going
like,
over,
why is it here?
Yeah. It kind of goes back to more so like, as its title implies, it's more Slim Shady era M. And those songs are kind of more on a recovery sort of era M. Right,
I agree. Maybe that's what he was trying to do when he said this was a concept album.
Maybe to a degree, yeah, I can see that. But it definitely could have probably been placed better in the track list. But overall, things end well with Somebody Save Me. I thought that was really good.
Same.
Jelly Roll's feature was really, really solid on that. And just overall, that was a pretty good way to kind of wrap up the theme and the overall album and what he was trying to convey. I think that he did a really good job. A lot of people have criticized this album and said that it's basically him with an excuse to just sort of say whatever he wants to say, and he can't get canceled because this is Slim Shady. This is basically just the evil side of him coming back to light. And I can see that to a degree, but I think that what he was trying to convey mostly does work. There's definitely some issues there. Maybe the track list could have been condensed a little bit. But overall, as far as like an Eminem album, what I want from an Eminem album, I think he mostly delivered.
Yeah, I agree. It was all, for me, it was all there. Like, as far as the disses, especially the one he did on Candace Owens.
Oh, for sure. I like that one.
And Lucifer in that song. But like the disses, the lyricism, the skill, the style, it was all there.
Everything was there if you ask me.
But like I said, my only gripe with it, I kind of wish he just would have stayed like that, kind of through and through the whole song, and then did another album with pretty much like having Guilty Conscience 2 on it and stuff like that to start it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how it feels. It feels like a one half. It kind of feels like a shorter Mr. Morale and the Big Step.
Yeah, kind of like a double album sort of situation without the other album.
Exactly. With like a teaser of another album. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When starting from after Guilty Conscience started with Head Honcho, Temporary, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, for sure.
But other than that, it was, like I said, it was still a good album. It did everything I wanted it to. Like, I love, like, as an Eminem fan, I wasn't mad at it at all. Like, my thing is, I don't really take it that seriously because I know this is him just really just playing around.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like a lot of people shouldn't be that offended because all the people he talking about kind of had it coming. Other than Michael, I don't know about Michael. That's a story for another day. But
for sure.
But I feel like this album is still a good album. This is the Eminem people have been begging for and been wanting back. It wasn't really as much of an issue for his fans back then and the people that grew up listening to him. So I'm thinking, why is it? It shouldn't be an issue now.
Yeah, I agree because I just feel like it's the closest we got to a proper, real Eminem album since Mathers LP 2.
Right. My thing is, my favorite era of M was the recovery era, to be honest.
My favorite was the earlier M, like the very beginning. So that's why I personally really enjoyed this album. Right. But there's some good stuff from there too, though.
Yeah, like Without Me was one of my favorite Eminem songs of all time.
For sure.
Because it feels so, yeah. No Love from from Recovery was really good as well. With Lil Wayne, that's probably one of the first rap songs I listened to in full as like a kid, because you already know.
Because that came out 2010, so
right, and we was all little kids worrying about listening to Kids Bop and whatever.
For sure.
So
and then this Eminem song come on, it's like, let me put that Kids Bop down. I ain't trying to hear that.
And it's like, exactly. And but like No Love really just kind of resonated with me because I used to get bullied back in the day and everything like that. And it was but the Recovery era, Fire era, everything Eminem has done has been fire up until Revival.
Recent, yeah.
But
he seems like he's back.
Exactly. It seems like exactly. And I feel like people shouldn't give him so much. I feel like the people get the real. What do you think is the real reason people give Eminem so much flack?
I think people say that, I think it's just kind of like they feel he's out of touch because they feel like he has no direction. They feel like he doesn't really have anything to say other than just be offensive just for the sake of being offensive. Which, to a degree, I think that is kind of fair. But I'm not hating just because, at the end of the day, I listen to Eminem for a certain reason. That older music, is the Eminem that I love the most. So for him to make an album kind of in that same style and in that same vein, I'm not hating on it. And I think that he did a good job of kind of bringing it into the modern era. I think he did a good job of kind of bringing it up to like the modern times. I think that it wasn't just him sounding like he's literally stuck in 2004. It's like he took that 2004 style and put a new spin on it.
Exactly.
So I didn't hate anything about this album, honestly.
Right, I agree. It was a great album overall. What would you give it out of 10 though?
Personally, I give it a 7. I give it a 7.
I give it an 8.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm glad that M, at least for me, is back, in full force. And I look forward to whatever he has coming up next, because I know this rollout isn't done just because the album came out.
Right.
He's definitely going to drop some more videos. Matt probably go on tour. Maybe we might see that.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't think M's gone on tour for a while now, so
if he does, another Charlotte trip for sure.
But yeah, we'll be on the lookout for that. But I mean, I pretty much said what I needed to say.
Yeah, same here. Shoot.
All right, I'm Rodney.
Shoot, I'm Jay. LATD. Look at the details. Peace.